Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Carolinas Association of Collegiate Registrars and Admissions Officers Virtual College Fair, powered by StriveScan. My name is Julian. I'm going to be your facilitator for this evening. I'm going to start off with a few housekeeping items. If you have any questions throughout the night, we encourage you to ask those using the Q&A chat box, where you can ask any question anytime to any presenter throughout the evening. So not just the person who is speaking, but you can ask to any institution we have online tonight. We encourage you to do so. If you're worried about your camera and microphones being on, they are actually going to continue to stay off throughout the evening. So you just have to sit back, relax, and enjoy the information. And there are no more sessions for this particular fair, except for a transfer one, which is coming up next week. You'll be able to find information for that at strivescan.com/Carolinas, where you'll also be able to see the recording for the sessions that are taking place today at that same web address. So with that being said, I'm going to stop my screen share. We're going to get started with our first university, which is going to be Loyola University, Maryland. We're going to allow them to get their screen share up and running. And while they do, just wanted to continue to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the evening. Loyola, you have the floor.
All right, thanks, Julian. Like Julian mentioned, I'm here from Loyola University, Maryland. My name's Nathaniel Brickhouse, and thanks so much for being here. So Loyola, Maryland is a smaller Jesuit Catholic liberal arts school in Baltimore, Maryland. And I like to think about Loyola as being the best of both worlds in a lot of different ways. First of which is it really is that self-contained traditional liberal arts campus centered around the quad that you can see in that top picture there. But we are within Baltimore city limits. It's about a 10 to 15 minute car ride to get to that downtown Inner Harbor area that you see in that middle picture on the bottom. So a liberal arts school, but not out in the middle of nowhere, like a bunch of other smaller liberal arts schools can tend to be. You really do have that self-contained campus, but you have access to a really large city. And while we are within city limits, the immediate surroundings of campus feel more suburban. There are a few things that are within walking distance, but it doesn't feel like you're right there downtown. But again, it is very easy and accessible to get downtown. We're a Jesuit school, like I mentioned, and that idea of cura personalis, or care for the whole person, is something that you'll see throughout the Loyola experience. But I think it's a really good reflection of the community feel that we have on campus, and the fact that over 80% of our students choose to live on campus for all 4 years, even though there's no residential requirement. So in terms of total size, Loyola is just under 4,000 undergrad students, which again, for me, is sort of a best of both worlds. It means that we're small enough that, as you can see, it's a very individual education and experience. Average class size is just 20. Student to faculty ratio, if you prefer that, is 12:1. And all of our courses are professor taught, which I think is an important question to ask. So we're small enough that you really get to know your professors and they get to know you. They're there for our undergraduates, and they really want to meet with you outside of class and get to know you more than just a student in their class. Cura personalis, care for the whole person. They want to get to know you as just a member of the Loyola community. We're big enough, though, that we're Division I when it comes to sports, and we participate in the Patriot League. You can see that we have a ton of different majors and minors. Again, most of our students live on campus by choice. And then we also have a really robust study abroad program. 60% studying abroad is just about as high a percentage as you'll see from any school. So that's really flexible in terms of majors and finances and places to go. But in terms of majors, since we are a liberal arts school, that means you won't declare your major until sophomore year. So you don't need to know right away what you want to major in. You don't have to apply to a specific major or a specific school within the university. And we do have most of the majors that you would expect or want from a larger school. And we do have some majors that might surprise you that we offer being a smaller liberal arts school. So we have the big names. We have a really good pre-health program, pre-law. We have political science, communication, psychology. We also have more unique or off the beaten path majors like speech, language, and hearing pathology. We have forensic studies for any of you interested in forensic science or criminology. Forensic studies is just a more liberal artsy version of that. And we also offer engineering. That's not always the case with a smaller liberal arts school, but we have 4 different pathways for engineering. then, of course, we do have a business school with a lot of different business majors and minors offered there. Lastly, we also have a school of education. So tons of different majors. Again, we have the breadth of major options that you would expect or want from a larger school, while still being able to offer a really intimate one-on-one classroom experience led by professors. A lot of different ways to get in touch and visit. We currently are offering on-campus visits. If you can't register for one of those official visits, you're also welcome to come onto campus and register for a self-guided tour. It also just shows that you did visit campus. But we also have a lot of online opportunities similar to this. We have a lot of academic webinars. We have, this is 6 minutes, but we have a 20 to 30 minute long version with our information sessions. You can also register for a one-on-one chat with someone from admissions like myself or with one of our financial aid officers. And to do that, you can just follow that link right there, which I'll also drop in the chat after I'm done speaking. In terms of the application, we're on the common application and we don't have any supplemental questions or essays or anything. So I think it's a fairly straightforward application. Once you apply, you're automatically looked at for merit-based scholarships. There's no additional requirements for those. We do give them to most of our students. I really like that we make our education as accessible and affordable as possible. And I think we give out a lot of merit aid. Our awards ranged from $20,000 to $30,000 per year last year. So I think that the aid we do give out is pretty sizable. And then lastly, on the bottom there, you can see some of the averages for our admitted student profile last year. We don't have any minimums or anything like that. We use a really holistic review process when it comes to applications. But the average weighted GPA was around a 3.6. And you can see our average test score ranges, but we are a test optional school and we've been that way for a decade. So absolutely nothing has changed in the last few years with access to testing. If you don't want to submit your scores, just don't. And it does not change how we read your application in any way. You're still looked at exactly the same for merit-based scholarships. And there's no additional essays or something you have to do in place of those scores. Again, we've been test optional for a while, so no surprises there. Last slide is just my contact information. Thanks for your attention. And if you have any questions whatsoever, don't hesitate to reach out. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We are going to get ready for our next presenter from University of Massachusetts Amherst. So I am just going to encourage you to continue to use that Q&A chat box to ask any questions you have, but we're going to leave the floor over to the University of Massachusetts Amherst.
Awesome. I guess it would be good afternoon or good evening, depending on how you designate this time of day. My name is Juan Martinez Munoz. I'm an assistant director of admissions at the University of Massachusetts Amherst. I will just be going off of the just presenting with you guys here now. The slideshow would be too much to run through given the time frame. So that being said, the University of Massachusetts Amherst is a mid-sized public research university located in the heart of Western Mass in Amherst, Massachusetts, as the name would sort of imply. So Amherst, Mass is a quaint college town. It's considered more of a rural area, but its location is really prime. So it's just down the road, down the highway from larger cities like Springfield and Holyoke. So Springfield, a little fun fact about that is the birthplace of basketball. So there's a lot of fun things to do in the area related to that as well. And then also we find ourselves right in the middle between Boston, 90 miles west, and around 90 to 100 miles east of New York City. So it's a really good location for students who are interested in getting involved in bigger areas, but also staying in more localized locations so they can, have more quiet in their day-to-day. The thing about UMass Amherst as well, because it's located in a, really lively college town, also 4 other universities or colleges that make up what is known as the 5 College Consortium. So what that is that UMass Amherst, alongside Smith College, Amherst College, Hampshire College, and Mount Holyoke College. So as a student at UMass Amherst, you're able to take up to 2 courses per semester at any one of those other schools for no extra charge, which is a really great way for students to branch out just the classes at UMass and expand and really get a feel for what these other schools have to offer. And it's a great way for students to get involved and invested in the clubs that the other campuses have, the student life there, meet new people, different professors, network across that way. And a lot of students take advantage of those opportunities. So beyond just what UMass Amherst is in terms of the area, if we bring it back to the campus itself. So UMass Amherst, as I said before, is a mid-sized school. So we have around, I would say, 23,000 or so undergraduate students. So we're considered fairly large for New England standards, but if you compare us to the rest of the country, we're mid-sized. In relation to then what we offer, we have over 100 different academic programs, which includes over 90 different majors, which range from, so we have the STEM field covered in terms of computer science, engineering, college of natural sciences, which is where we find your biology, biochemistry, things like that, psychology, social behavioral sciences for those interested in economics, sociology, communication, humanities and fine arts, if you're interested in things like English, history, studio art, dance, and we have, agricultural sciences as well, and plenty more. One program that we really are proud of is our bachelor's degree with individual concentration, otherwise known just colloquially on campus as BDIC. So what that program is a build your own major program. And what that allows us for students who aren't necessarily finding the exact thing they want to study is they go into this department, they pull from 3 different disciplines already established on campus, they write a proposal, and they sort of form their own path when it comes to their academic journey at UMass. So some students do fashion marketing, some do international relations, some people study holistic medicine. One guy once studied cheese, and that's pretty an interesting story that the school's really proud about. I think now he works in like Paris or something. So there's a lot of different opportunity for students to really take hold of their own academic journey when it comes to UMass Amherst. And beyond that as well, when we talk about academics, so there's a more social aspect of UMass Amherst too. So there's over 300 registered active student organizations on campus. So they range from Greek life. If you're interested in Greek life, we have over 100 different organizations on campus. If you're interested in more social activities too that involve cultural groups, we have those. We have academic-based clubs. We have arts clubs. So any of your interests, you can probably find them on campus. Definitely one of the clubs that took off recently because of going remote has been our video games focused club. So Super Smash Bros. Club really took off, and they hold, just on campus and virtually different events for students to compete. You find things like Squirrel Watching Club. If you're interested in sports, we have, a lot of club sports available for students on campus, including 21 D1 level teams. So, we have basketball, football, baseball, diving, and then we also have things like softball, both men's and women's basketball, tennis, and there's a variety of other different sports available for students to take part in. So it's a really great opportunity for students to get involved, be active, and also keep balance when it comes to their academic journey. Beyond that, in terms of how to apply, so we use the Common App. We're a Common App exclusive school. We also communicate exclusively electronically with students. So whatever email you use to apply will be the email that we use to keep in contact with you. There are few required components to the Common App for the application. So there's the completed Common App. We have 2 supplemental questions on there that ask why UMass and why the major you chose. You can answer those in a couple sentences. They're optional, but it's always in best interest if something was asked just to answer it, just so we can get a feel for why you're interested in school. Then there's a transcript. We get that directly from your school. Most students who apply, their weighted GPA is anywhere between 3.9 or 4.2, again, weighted GPA. That said, we've taken students below that and taken students well above that. So don't let the GPA as it stands now be the deciding factor whether or not you apply to a school, because you never know what could happen. In terms of testing, we're test optional for this year and the next 2 years. So I won't necessarily go over the ranges as they stand, because it'll ultimately be not too consequential when it relates to the review of your completed application. But we do take the SATs and the ACTs, if you're curious which testing that we do, in case you want to submit those. And then a letter of recommendation, we need 1 academic letter of recommendation. So typically that's from a counselor, it could be from a teacher or a school administrator. And then your essay and extracurriculars. So the essay and extracurriculars, we always like to stress because we don't have enough time to do interviews at UMass. So it's a great way to get a peek at what you're about, what you're interested in, who you are, and it helps us process the person behind just the academics on the application. Beyond that, if you have any more questions, feel free to look up our website at umass.edu, and you'll be able to click through, see the directory. If you want to contact me, I'll put my email in the chat or my name. But beyond that, thank you all for having me this evening.
Awesome. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next presenter from the Catholic University of America. We're going to allow them to get their screen share up and running. And if you have any questions or comments, you can go ahead and throw them into the Q&A chat box. And we're going to leave the floor over to the Catholic University of America.
Thanks so much. All right. Hi, everyone. My name is Rita Murphy. I am an admission counselor at Catholic University in Washington, D.C. All right. So just kind of give you a look about Catholic University, an overview. We've got about 3,100 undergrad students and about 2,600 graduate and law students with us on campus as well. About 80% of our students self-identify as Catholic. So we do have a lot of students who choose to get involved in their faith in college and get involved in campus ministry and a lot of service on campus, but we also have a lot of students who are of a different faith or no faith background at all, who also like to get involved in service and like to get involved in the community here on campus. We have 30% ethnic diversity on campus and 8% international students. And then looking at the academic side of things, we have over 70 majors and 60 minors and certificates. I'll give you a little overview of that on the next slide or so. But we have plenty to choose from for any students coming from any interest. We also have 115 study abroad programs. So a lot of our students do choose to study abroad, mostly in that junior year, but we also have some really interesting programs for our nursing majors who are normally doing their clinical work that junior and senior year and can't get abroad. They're able to do some programs in their sophomore year. So we really like to pride ourselves in getting students of any major abroad or any program that they're looking for. We really make it as possible as it can be for each student. You do maintain eligibility for scholarships and financial aid when you go abroad. And we have our own flagship program in Rome, which is pretty popular for students as well. We have our own campus over there with our own faculty and staff. So you're basically getting to take Catholic University and bring it abroad with you. And then we are a smaller school, so we have an average class size of about 19 to 21 students. So you're definitely going to get that one-on-one time with your professor and a lot of face-to-face time. You'll feel very known in the classroom right away on campus, which can be really nice for students starting out in a totally new city and new environment. And we have an average student to faculty ratio of about 10 to 1. So again, getting to know your professors really well and really making some worthwhile relationships there. And then we do have 31 campus research centers. So we were actually started as a graduate research institution and then later introduced our undergrad studies. So it's a really unique environment for our undergrad students to have that chance to be surrounded by that higher level research and to get involved in that. Just last week, we had our University Research Day that I can include a link to as well, but we were able to hold it virtually again this year. So students from all different subjects are able to take part in some really, really cool research on campus and in the surrounding area of DC as well. And then we are in DC itself. I get that question a lot. We're in the neighborhood of Brookland. We're about 3.5 miles away from the National Mall, which is where you'll find the Smithsonian museums, all the government buildings, and sort of downtown DC of what you might picture when you are thinking of DC. And so we have the metro train system, the public transportation system in DC, and we actually have our own metro stop right across from campus. So it's really easy to get around the city and navigate the place that you're choosing to go to school in. And so a lot of students are able to take advantage of that easy access to the city, and they're able to have internships during the week or on the weekends, or just generally, do some shadowing or just different trips into downtown. I know a lot of students went to see the cherry blossoms a few weeks ago, just in between classes. So again, just really easy to get in and around the city that you're going to be living in. But we also are a residential campus. So we're the largest self-contained campus in DC with 176 acres of green space. So lots of space to spread out and really feel like you're on that traditional college campus, but again, while having access to and being surrounded by that city environment. So you kind of get the best of both worlds there. We do have athletic teams. We've got D3 varsity athletics on campus. We've got 25 different teams, as well as club sports and intramural leagues if you're looking to be a little bit less competitive. So those are fun to do as well. And while there is so much going on in DC, it's definitely not the type of school that you have to leave to find something to do. So we've got over 100 student clubs and organizations, as well as service opportunities. As I mentioned, campus ministry has so many from, daily service opportunities to our 2 big days of service, one in the fall and one in the spring, that all of our student athletes get involved in, and a large number of our students and faculty as well. So this is just a little overview of our 9 schools of undergraduate study offered here. A couple things I'll just touch on: School of Arts and Sciences, the Bush School of Business, and the School of Engineering all have an exploratory option, which is the same as sort of an undecided option you might find on other campuses. And so if you are interested in these general schools of study, but you aren't looking to make a specific decision when you're applying to schools, that is a really great option to get started on those introductory courses, so that you're not feeling that you're behind once you pick your major sophomore year or anything like that. But it just sort of gives that open opportunity for you there. We have the Rome School of Music, Drama, and Art as well, and the Conway School of Nursing, which we're building a new building for. So that's really exciting. We're getting ready to open that up soon. And we also use the Common Application. We don't have an application fee, and we are test blind this year. So we won't be considering test scores at all. And I can send a couple links into what we require in our application. And we do offer merit awards as well as an honors program. All students get considered for these upon application. So there's no additional mark off on the Common App, except for the Parish Scholarship and the Legacy Grant that you have to fill out on the Common App. So if you attend a Catholic parish, that's $4,000 a year, and the Legacy Grant, if you had a parent, sibling, or grandparent attend. So those I just like to touch on so that you don't forget. But thanks so much for your time, and I'll send my information and all of our visit opportunities in the chat.
Awesome, thank you so much. We're gonna get ready for our next presenter from Muhlenberg College. We're gonna allow them to get the screen share up and running, but I want to encourage more questions to pop into the Q&A chat box, as we only have 2 presenters left. We're gonna leave the floor over to Muhlenberg College.
Thank you so much. Welcome to Muhlenberg. I'm delighted that you are here today to hear about us for the first time, or to be reminded of our community. My name is Tara Nealon, and this is an aerial view of part of our campus. We are in a suburban setting. We are 20 minutes to the totally awesome Lehigh Valley Airport, which is easily accessible from major airports, including if you're close to Charlotte and Raleigh. We are 10 minutes to downtown Allentown, 1 hour to Philadelphia, and 2 hours to New York City. Fun fact, Allentown is the 3rd largest and the fastest growing city in Pennsylvania. Our location in the Lehigh Valley lends itself to opportunities for our students to learn, to grow, to do outside of the classroom. This could be shadowing and research experience within the Lehigh Valley Health Network, working or cheering at a minor league hockey game or a minor league baseball game, my favorite, going to an amusement park, symphony hall, hiking, museums, shopping, restaurants, and so much more. This is another aerial view of part of our campus. Not pictured is where we will very soon break ground on our newest building, a very green building, of course. The new building will house faculty offices, classroom studio space for our innovation and entrepreneurship program, our Institute for Public Opinion, our Office for Community Engagement, plus studio art spaces. We are a traditional liberal arts college. This exploratory program often leads to another major or minor, sometimes in a pre-professional field of study or the pursuit of an academic partnership. Popular majors for first-year students include business, theater, biology, psychology. My absolute favorite is still deciding or undecided. Yes, we have public health. Growing in popularity among first-year applicants also includes neuroscience and computer science. While our students have been able to study and minor in sustainability studies for decades, they can now choose to major in it. The flexibility for students to pursue their interests with the support of their advisors and professors leads to an enriching experience and life after Muhlenberg. These are some fast facts that you see here on the screen. At Muhlenberg, our students are individuals who come together to form a community. Our students are supportive of one another. They are creative, curious, resilient, and kind. We are recognized in the rankings for best value, best food, best theater. We've earned gold for being green, an A+ grade from 538 pollster ranking, and our students have been honored for their engagement in the community. We are a religiously diverse institution, much like you've been hearing this evening. 1/3 of our students identify as Jewish, 1/3 identify as Roman Catholic. You can also see on this slide that almost 30% of our students choose to double major, and typically to nearly 60% of our students study away at least one time before they graduate. Our athletes compete in Division III Centennial Conference and have won more than 33 conference championships since 2000. We are the Mules of Muhlenberg, and we do academics, athletics, and the arts exceptionally well. Our students are engaged in their work and active in their communities, supportive of each other. They're intellectually curious, smart, kind, good citizens, and yes, they have fun. There's something to do and ways to engage every day of the week, from programming from Muhlenberg Activities Council, the Multicultural Office, Greek life, knitting, faith-based clubs, affinity groups, theater and dance performances, intramural sports, and so much more. And our faculty serve as scholars and mentors. They are incredibly committed to our students' growth and development as an academic and a community member. Their level of care goes well beyond the classroom. They'll invite students for coffee. They'll cheer them on in a performance or on the field. They'll work individually with students on a research project and continue to mentor well beyond their time on campus together. Our graduates go on to become change makers, teachers, scientists, actors, business owners, coaches, journalists, attorneys, physicians, and so much more. They're leaders in their chosen field and productive members of their community and their workplace. On campus, like this picture you see on your screen here, Muhlenberg's famous red doors, which is a testament to our Lutheran roots and a sign of welcome. For those of you planning ahead in the room, this slide shows what you do need to do to complete your application to Muhlenberg. Notably, we have been test score optional for over 20 years and will continue to do so. All students are considered for merit scholarship money and honors programs. Applicants can audition or have their portfolio reviewed for a talent scholarship in the arts like theater, dance, film, music, art. We review applications holistically, taking into account all parts of a student's application, including demonstrated interest. When we read applications, our applicants present with rigorous curriculum like honors and AP. If your school offers it, our applicants use their application to speak to their passions, their interests, their talents, all of which demonstrate how they'll be a good fit within the Muhlenberg community. I invite you to read alumni and student profiles at muhlenberg.edu/news. And if you're pulling up your Instagram to follow us, may I also suggest you check out Dogs of Muhlenberg for some feel-good doggo pics. Since 1848, we have been an institution of higher learning committed to our students' intellectual and personal growth. We look forward to learning more about you and welcoming you to campus. Thank you for your time this evening. And keep your questions coming, we're here.
Awesome, thank you so much. And we are going to start turning it over to our last presenter for this session from Reed College. We're gonna allow you to get your screen share up and running. But yes, if there are any questions, this is our last presenter. So I want to encourage you to throw in any questions you have to any of our presenters. Just make sure that you address whoever you want to answer that question for you. So Reed College, we'll leave it over to you.
All right. Thank you so much. My name is Varick Harris. Hello, all. Thanks for being here. I am one of the assistant deans of admission here at Reed College. Also a Reed alum, and originally, although I'm not, from the Carolinas, I am from Tennessee. So moved out here all the way to Portland, Oregon, to come to college. I guess that's the perfect place to kind of start this off. Aerial shots seem to be kind of a thing now. So this is an aerial shot of Reed's campus. This is also kind of like a good feel of what the Pacific Northwest looks like if you've never been up here. It's beautiful. It's essentially like this pretty much, I would say 8 months out of the year. Lots of trees on campus. I guess fun fact about Reed, there's more trees than people on campus, and what you can see kind of is in the foreground of this photo is campus itself, and then as you look out, you're actually looking east towards Mount Hood, which is a mountain. It's year-round, snow-capped, that students get off campus pretty regularly to visit and go skiing. There's another shot going in the opposite direction. So this is actually facing towards the city of Portland. So Reed is in the Portland city limits, although we are pretty well separated from downtown Portland. So on campus, it definitely feels like you're in a very natural environment. We're kind of tucked away in the suburbs, but it is an option. It's about a 15-minute bus ride, and you will be in the heart of downtown Portland, or you can explore the neighborhoods on this side of the river. The natural theme kind of continues on campus. Fun fact about Reed, there's a canyon and a waterway that kind of divides the middle of campus. It's actually a national wildlife refuge, which is pretty fun. After we learned early in, I believe, the 90s that salmon were spawning in the waterway. So this is the only unobstructed flow of natural spring water that starts in the city of Portland and eventually makes its way out to the Pacific Ocean, which is pretty special. And again, we are definitely proud, as are most places in the Pacific Northwest, about our relationship with our environment. Kind of moving over into academics. So Reed, as an institution, we are a liberal arts college. We offer over 40 different majors, and we only recently started doing minors, just because we saw kind of historically a lot of students had a minor, but didn't really have an interest in having it on a piece of paper. But now we do offer minors. These majors encompass everything from biology. This is one of our biology professors, Derek, to math, philosophy, to computer science. It's no secret Steve Jobs went to Reed, although he didn't graduate, but he did come here, and credits Reed and his time here with a lot of the work that led to founding Apple. In terms of classrooms and what you can expect, we're a very small school. So in terms of size, we are less than 1,500 students total. We do have a grad school on campus. It is a very, very small grad school. Generally, there's only maybe 17 students in it. All of the professors that are teaching on Reed's campus are full-time faculty members. So you're never having to kind of deal with a TA that doesn't really know what's going on. All of your professors are here for you. We have a 9-to-1 student to faculty ratio. So I think it's really easy to come here and get one-on-one time with your professor whenever you need them. Another fun fact about Reed, kind of continuing, this is a pretty big research institution for us being a liberal arts college. It's kind of random, but there is a nuclear reactor on campus. This is the only nuclear reactor that is operated primarily by undergraduate students in the entire world. So if you want to come to a liberal arts college, but you're nervous about, will I have space to do scientific research? I think Reed is definitely a place to be. As a student here, I had to use a particle accelerator to complete my senior research project. So there's definitely the resources to help you accomplish these things. If, on the other hand, you're more interested in performing arts, Reed has invested a lot of money and resources into students that are interested in performing arts. So this is one of our theaters on campus. This is the Black Box Theater, very nice space. You don't have to be a performing arts major to participate in any plays or orchestral performances or anything like that. It is totally open for you. Clubs on campus. So this is a shot. This is Weapons of Mass Distraction. They are a fire spinning troupe that has a club on Reed's campus. Other clubs include our outdoor exploration club. So Reed actually, that mountain you saw on the first slide, Mount Hood, Reed owns a ski cabin on the slopes of Mount Hood, and students are more than able and actually kind of encouraged to take weekend trips up to our ski cabin. It's open all year round for students to access completely for free. Again, more outdoors in Pacific Northwest. There's a backpack co-op on campus that has all this material and more that is totally free for students to rent, check out, and use as they see fit. Dorms are important. I've had a lot of questions about dorms this year. So this is the newest residence hall. It was built in 2019. This is Trillium. All of Reed's dorms have kitchens. They have common areas. Trillium is very nice. It's very industrial chic, I would say. And fun fact about Reed and res halls, most of the dorms are actually singles, and the ones that are doubles are divided, like this room. And you can have a pet if you're a student on campus. The pet just has to be an emotional support animal. So these are all the important dates. Important things to note about applying. We accept applications through Common App and the Coalition application. We are test blind. There is no application fee, and we only do need-based financial aid. So merit-based aid is not an option. If you have any questions, that's the contact information on the screen. I'll put it in the chat as well. And thanks for having me.
All righty, thank you so much to all of our presenters for some awesome information. Now we are going to move into a round robin style of questioning for all the presenters. We're going to get started right back up at the top with Loyola University, Maryland. And the question is going to be, what advice would you give someone going through the college search process? So we'll get started with you, Loyola University, Maryland.
Sure. This piece of advice might elicit some groans at this point, but visit the schools that you are interested in applying to, if possible. Obviously, there are some current barriers to doing that. So if you can't visit in person, definitely see online if there's a virtual tour, if there's any way that you can get in touch with current faculty, current students, and meet them and speak with them rather than just admissions folk. But if you can, and if travel opens up, definitely visit the schools you want.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And University of Massachusetts, Amherst.
Yeah, that was actually a really great piece of advice. I would say the other thing I would say is stay organized. So if you make a spreadsheet or something to keep track of all the schools you're applying to, dates, deadlines, fees, things like that, just so you can be mindful. Sometimes, in the midst of applying to different schools and trying to take care of everything, something slip your mind and you forget to, submit something that's a required part of the application. And then so your application's not considered on time by the time you get it in. So you don't want that to happen to you, especially if it's avoidable. So definitely keep a calendar or spreadsheet just to stay organized.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Catholic University of America.
Those were both the points I was thinking about, but just to add to that, I always like to tell students to take notes after they've gone on a visit or after they've done, even an event like tonight, and any sort of preliminary thoughts you have about schools or things that stuck out to you, things you liked while you were there. It can be a little tough to get back into that mindset, 3-4 months later when you're filling out that application and that supplemental question. So that can always be, helpful to look back on. And I'll cut myself off so I don't take another idea. Thank you.
I would encourage, hi, everybody. I would encourage the attendees to have the courage to explore colleges that you may not have heard of before, and have the courage to explore those colleges because you are being genuine with yourself and what you need and what you want out of your college experience. So pursue your college exploration with courage as an individual with your family and the adults supporting you.
Awesome. Reed College.
Yeah, one piece of advice I would say is imagine yourself not just as a freshman at whatever schools you're thinking about, but think about, the person that you will become 4 years, of being at whatever schools you're interested in, and kind of think through which person do you want to become. I thought for myself, it was super helpful. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Our next question is going to be, I'm going to get my screen share going for our attendees, but what is your favorite event or tradition on campus? And we'll start right back up at the top. What is your favorite event or tradition on campus?
So every spring, we have a really big concert/event, kind of like a carnival type deal that's called Loyola Palooza, kind of like Lollapalooza. I really have to focus every time I say it. It's a whole lot of fun. It's kind of towards the end of the semester, so right before spring finals are happening. Great way to blow off steam. Really big artists every year come. So Loyola Palooza, definitely for us.
Awesome, thank you. And then University of Massachusetts Amherst.
Yeah, so many to choose from. I guess one that maybe the attendees here would be pretty fond of would be every Halloween there's a steak and lobster night. So the school, literally every student or anyone who shows up to the dining commons that day gets a ticket for a steak and a lobster. You get both, and a whole entire lobster, and every year. So I gotta say that's a pretty big one. I don't know what they do for students who may be like vegan or different dietary restrictions the day of, but I do know that I ate steak and lobster for 4 years as an undergrad.
That sounds great. Catholic University of America.
That's awesome. Personally, I have really enjoyed each year we have a tree lighting on campus around Christmas, and a lot of our student groups like a cappella and some other dance groups will perform. And it's just sort of a nice end of the semester event for all the faculty and the students to go to. But on the student side of things, one of my favorite traditions I've observed is that during orientation, they do what's called Metro Madness, and they break off into their orientation groups and they get to go around the city and do a scavenger hunt just to get to know how to use the transportation system and to get to know the city.
Awesome. Muhlenberg.
So my favorite tradition on campus celebrates our students as well. So throughout the school year, our students volunteer throughout the year at a local elementary school. They've been doing this for decades. And at the end of the school year, our students host the elementary school students on the Muhlenberg campus for field day. So this really takes you back. It is a super special day. There's so much energy, extra energy on campus because there's a lot of little people running around. And it's a wonderful day where our students' leadership shines in terms of organizing such a large event on campus. So my favorite is Jefferson Field Day.
Awesome, thank you. Reed College.
I kind of miss field days. Is that weird?
Not weird at all. I miss it too.
They're really fun. Favorite tradition at Reed would definitely be, there's this thing called Ren Fair. Happens every year. Giant celebration that lasts 3 days. And it's just like a festival to celebrate the fact that, mostly seniors are about to graduate. Also, as a collective, we made it through another year. But it all kicks off with something called Thesis Parade, where all of the seniors, in order to graduate, you have to write a research paper. And this giant fire pit gets put in front of our library, and one by one, the seniors march through the library and throw all of the drafts of their research paper into this fire pit. While like the entire college is standing by, you're being kind of like sprayed with champagne. So yeah.
Champagne, lobster, steak. They sound like some fun schools. Our last question is going to be, give an interesting or fun fact about your school. So not really a question, but if you all can share an interesting or fun fact about your school, other than the great things you've already shared. So we'll start right back up at the top.
Sure. We're nicknamed the Evergreen Campus, which I know it's 40 minutes ago, but if you remember my slideshow, a lot of green spaces on campus, but I like it too because there's that sense of like pine tree, Christmas, just warm, homey feelings, which I think is a really good reflection of the community on campus.
Awesome, thank you. Catholic University, or I'm sorry, University of Mass Amherst.
Yeah, fun fact about the campus. Wow, there's again a lot to. The school's been around for a while. I guess I would just say that I guess a fun fact that we started off as an agricultural school, and throughout the years, centuries rather, I suppose, we are what we are now. So it's a bit of a fun fact.
Awesome. Catholic University of America?
So we are actually the only higher ed institution founded by the U.S. bishops. So back a couple years ago, when Pope Francis came to the United States, he came to our campus. And so a lot of our students got to go or just help in sort of the fanfare of that. We've got the National Basilica right next door, so that was really cool.
Nice. Muhlenberg?
Extra fun fact for Catholic, my cousin was a student at the time when the Pope was Catholic.
Awesome.
I will take this really fun, and maybe some of the parents watching this are going to find this more fun. But in 1985, Campbell's Soup shot a commercial at Muhlenberg. You can find it on YouTube, and I will drop it in the chat, but it is a fabulous throwback to an after school special meets a Campbell's Soup commercial. We've done so many cool things since then, but this one really hits you home because it takes you back to those good old days.
Awesome, thank you. And Reed College?
Let's see, I guess fun, towing the line between like fun and historical. So Reed has existed since 1911. But the first class to graduate, so class of 1915, was 46 students. So we were very small then as well. But the fun fact is that of those 46, 23 of those students were women. So we've always been co-ed. And even back in 1915, we were graduating female students with bachelor's degrees.
Awesome, awesome. All right, thank you everyone for joining us tonight. It's been a pleasure to be able to facilitate the information between each and every one of these institutions who took the time out to share some awesome information. So after you close this window, there's going to be a quick 4-question survey that's going to appear. And there are no more sessions for this particular fair except for a transfer fair for the Carolinas that is coming up next week. You'll be able to find information at strivescan.com/Carolinas. And you'll be able to also see the recordings for this fair and all the sessions that were inside of this fair as well too within about a week. So have a great rest of the week and enjoy the rest of your college admission search. Take care.